Many people assume that extroverts are the ones who make great leaders. However, this is not always the case. It is no secret that extrovert people are known to be outspoken, loud, talkative, highly social, and are quick decision makers. They are excellent public speakers, make connections, and are quick decision makers. Introverts, whose name appears next to shy, quiet, and many sentences, are perceived to lack any chance in the leadership arena. This assumption couldn't be more wrong. It has been reported that a full 40% of executives describe themselves as introverts, including Microsoft's Bill Gates, legendary investors such as Warren Buffett and Charles Schwab. Odds are that President Obama was an introvert as well. What does that mean? Introverts, not just extroverts, have the right stuff to lead organizations in a go-to-go extroverted business culture. Here are 5 key characteristics that help introvert leaders build on their quiet strengths and succeed. One, they think first and talk later. Introverts leaders think before they speak, even in casual conversations. They consider other comments carefully, and they stop and reflect before responding, often using silence to allow even more thoughts to bubble up. Learning by listening, not talking, is a trait that introverts consistently demonstrate. They also use their calm, quiet demeanor to be heard amid the organizational noise and chatter. One thoughtful reasoned comment in the meeting can move a group forward leaps and bounds. In fact, the most powerful person in the room is often the quietest. Additionally, an introvert's tendency to be more measured with words is a major asset in the current economy, when no leader can afford to make costly gaffes. They exclude calm. Introvert leaders are low-key. In times of crisis, they project reassuring, calm confidence. Think President Obama. And they speak softly, slowly, regardless of the heat of the conversations or the circumstances. Whenever they get ready for a meeting or speech, often special event, their secret to success can be summed up in one word: preparation. They often plan and write out their meetings, questions well in advance, and for important talks and speeches, they rehearse aloud. Number 3, they're observant. In addition to their superior listening skills, introverts possess a superpower: their observational skills. We notice things that others may not because we're not talking and processing out loud. Although it may look like we're just sitting quietly during a meeting, introverts are actually soaking in information that's being presented and thinking critically. The typical introvert also uses his or her observant nature to read a room. They are more likely to notice a person's body language and facial expressions, which makes them better at interpersonal communication. They can tell when a person is thinking, processing, and observing, and they give them space to do so, which makes them feel more comfortable. Number 4, they build more meaningful conversations. Because introverts are motivated by quality and productivity, they can also seem disconnected from other people, unable and unwilling to build on personal connections. As they are motivated, however, the connections introverts build just happen to be focused on different priorities. While they may not be openly conversational in large groups, introverts are great at developing deeper and more meaningful connections with employees and client one-on-one meetings. This genuine relationship building makes the introvert leader tune with each member of the team in different ways than extroverted leader might be. They listen when others speak. The ability to pay attention is one attribute of a good leader. An extrovert will speak a lot when placed in any group, thus making them the center of attention. The introvert quietly observes the group, listens to every person's contribution, and only speak when there is something meaningful to say. They have the ability to hear what is not being said, learn what motivates people, and understand what makes them better, not at the center of attention. So in conclusion, introverts do have what it takes to be good leaders in an extroverted business culture. Bill Gates and Warren Buffett are both introverts. They talk first. They think first and they talk later. They take time to reflect in responding, using only silence to deepen their thought bubbles. They exclude calm. In times of crisis, they project reassuring, calm confidence, like President Obama did. They often plan and write out their meetings and questions well in advance. They are observational. Although it may not look like they're paying attention, they are. Introverts are actually soaking up information that's being presented and thinking critically. They build more meaningful connections because introverts are motivated by quality and productivity. They can often be seen disconnected from other people or unwilling to build personal connections. However, the connections introverts just happen to be focused on different priorities. While they may not with open conversation in large groups, they are great at developing deeper, more meaningful connections with employees and clients in one-on-one settings. Lastly, they listen while others speak. Pay attention is one attribute of a good leader. The introvert quietly observes a group, listens to every person's attribute, and will only speak when they have something meaningful to say.